Good morning. We are in the ID3, just having a test session, checking the car, in and outside design, dynamic, So as you know, it's an electric car, so it's not a big surprise. It's very quiet here, and we have some nice features like head-up display, very clean cockpit with center panel, and we have our integrated speedometer with all the information. It's very gives you only the very necessary informations. All the other things you can adjust here in the middle center, the middle console. And you have touch buttons. Every button is a touch. It functions well, I think. Okay, if you have a gloves on or something, probably it won't work. So you have to always use it without. I think it's just a thing we have to get used to. It's new, so maybe for somebody it's gonna be a little bit strange to use all these touch buttons. But in the future, probably we're gonna have even more gesture controlling, so you not even have to touch, or we're gonna have holograms which we can just touch in the air. Currently I'm driving with 140 km/h. The car feels very solid. It's quiet here, no strange noises, and it feels much comfortable than a regular combustion engine car, because you don't have any engine noise, of course. So we take you a ride, check the car in and outside for you, and give my feedback as well to the design, and also as well to the function. I know the guy who made the concept for this time back in the days. It was one of my colleagues from the university. He's a great car designer. He was used to work at VW advanced design. Really like this concept. It looks like a little bit the inspiration of the car, like that animation movie called The Wall-E, and that animation figure, the Eve, is kind of it has a similar look and feel. So this was also probably one of the main inspiration, or one of the inspiration. Of course, there's a lot of other inspirations coming to the one project, but for me it's kind of a key inspiration. But we have today a very typical German day. It's just foggy and cold, around 2 degrees. But it's a perfect time to test a car like this, to see if the range dramatically change. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna take the car to the nice spot where we can just talk about it outside, and see you there. So let's talk about the design of the car. It's gonna be, or it should be, the next big move for VW. It's the next Golf, or electric Golf, but it isn't. It's the ID3, but it shares some elements, or it just gives you a little bit of the Golf character in a very, very modern and electric way. So it uses really an electric platform, and also the whole design, the body design, the silhouette of the car is an electric car shape, which I think it's a very good approach. yeah, we're still having, this is the one of the elements which I think is the very VW or Golf element, this massive C pillar. I also really like this integrated spoiler, makes the car has a very sloping back, makes it low and sporty. Even it's not a sporty car, it's a very practical electric vehicle. Yeah, I like the integration of the headlamps. It also gives you a little bit the feel of the last two generation of Golf, but also on a modern, sleek way. So, and also this black part, which is the windows, are just on this part, and this is just a black plastic, but it makes the car much modern. They started to this design on a VW up, this black rear, and I really like that also on that car. Anyway, the car also a little bit remembers, or it gives me the same thinking or the same proportions in small VW up, which was a very well-made design for a small car. Yeah, the side view is very clean. We have one sharp edge running through the whole side view. The front is also very simple. There are some elements which I not really like, but there are just small things like this fake air intakes or something. This is it. Here it's a real intake, so you can fit your hand, and it's probably for the cooling of the batteries or cooling separate things. Yeah, the front of the car, as I said, it's very simple, unique. You have the new VW logo, an LED stripe which is running through all the front, a sleek headlamps, and yeah, the headlamp has a funny design function that it, when you start the car or just getting to the car, it moves his eye. They try to make the car even sleeker and longer. For example, this is one element which makes the car kind of having much more window surfaces, but it's also just a black plastic, which is a cover, but it works. These silver trims are extra, costs extra to have in a basic car. You have this black, and also you have to choose this. It's actually a normal foil, which I not really like, but you have to choose this as an extra. I wouldn't choose it. It's a little bit cheesy, kind of feels cheap, not very worthy. Yeah, as I mentioned, this spoiler, which is all the way integrated, looks very good. So yeah, this is the rear once more. The touch buttons working for my feel and yeah taste. They're working very good. So I don't have the need to have a clear feedback from the real button. It feels very good. Also, it feels good during the drive. So yeah, actually I'm quite happy with this solution, and it's very simple here. So actually I positively surprised about this. I like the interior as well. We have here an Alcantara part and yeah, a normal seat cover, just to see how big the rear compartment is. I just get it in and outside, so I have enough yeah, enough headroom and also legroom. It really feels like a Golf from the width, and maybe from the length is like a Passat or a little bit bigger car. Yeah, actually it's comfortable for a family with 2 children. To check the luggage space. Actually it's really like a Golf. You have here all the charging parts which you need. Yeah, works. So just let's put some stuffs inside to see how big it is. Yeah, so yeah, you can fit several things here. It's enough. It's like a Golf, as I said. So yeah, the car looks good. I really like. We'll see how with all the prices and costs around if it's worth to buy against a Tesla Model 3. For me it's a different category than a Model 3. It's a smaller, it's more everyday usable city all day long car. Driving characteristic of the car or the dynamic, it's actually enough. It has some reserves to driving or just getting on the speed if you need it. It's not a sport car, but it shouldn't be a sport car. It's as I said, it's a very usable car for the everyday. It's fast enough, it's quiet enough. The whole body of the car feels well on the street. It moves nicely around. It's a rear-wheel drive car, so it's a little bit rear-wheel drive cars, so just pushing you forward, which is a nice feeling. Actually, it's fun to drive, but you notice the weight of the car. It's around 1.8 tons, which is it's quite heavy. It's like an SUV, but it's actually the size is maybe a little bit smaller than an SUV, but SUVs are not much more practical as this car, so it's the same more or less. Yeah, this car has a lower center of gravity, so the weight is almost on the floor, which is a good thing compared to SUVs. SUVs like wobbling around all the way, and when you're cornering, it's just you have a lot of body movement. In this car it's much less, and it feels very well built. So great car.